Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Wednesday morning, the 8th of January. And it's a chilly one in Northern England here this morning. It was around, 23 degrees Fahrenheit when I went out this morning. What's that? Below freezing. It's warming up now a little bit though. Okay, we're going to stick with the Sebastian Rogers case today. And this is a direct follow-on from yesterday's video, which not many people watched, which is a shame because I think that this information is really important. But perhaps the people who really need to listen to this are not listening, because I've been hearing that people have been given a list of acceptable channels to watch regarding this case. I don't know whether that's true. I haven't seen such a list. It's just what's doing the rounds. So I guess I'm not one of the acceptable channels to watch, am I? Because I'm not in the green team. Well, for those of you who are bucking the trend and maybe hate watching, you may consider the psychological phenomenon of groupthink bias. Go and take a look at it. It may require you to do some critical thinking. I hope you're capable. Alright, direct follow on from yesterday's video. For those that didn't watch it, you don't necessarily need to pause this video to go and watch that, because I'm going to extend on what I said yesterday. I'm going to talk about what SF investigators Steve Fisher, the PI working on the case, said in an interview on Granny's Watching's channel yesterday regarding the search dogs. Yes, we're talking about search dogs again. And here's a lesson from the Chris Watts case. Did you ever think that you're going to end up talking about Chris Watts? You know, the man who murdered his wife and children in Colorado in 2018. I know a lot of people still follow the Chris Watts case. I don't make Chris Watts videos anymore because I don't think there's anything new to talk about. I went through the entire discovery. I went through every single piece of information that's ever been released and found this little nugget that I've played loads of times, but I'm going to play it again. This little nugget that shows just how easy it is for a handler, in this case a very experienced handler, to just completely ignore her dog. It could potentially have been crucial information that was missed. If Chris hadn't have confessed, this would have been a massive oversight for law enforcement. As it was, they got away with it because Chris crumbled after his polygraph and confessed. However, how does this relate to Sebastian's case? Well, it could. It absolutely could. So, let's talk about that. Alright, so in yesterday's video, I played a clip from K9 Captain Jules, who'd released a little clip from a phone call that she had with Chris Proudfoot. I don't know when the call was, but here's Chris Proudfoot talking about a Malinois that followed the track that I've talked about loads on this channel.
I just happened to know because I was on the phone the whole time. And so the first couple units show up and they do bring a Malinois. And Max gets there, they're searching. Max picks up a sandstick. Feline. He is following it, he is on it. Like off my front porch, cuts diagonal, goes over the road, cuts up to the top of the road, over to the construction site. Now there's a subdivision directly being built next to it.
Okay.
It's the track that Chris told Narc Divers.
If you're looking at my house, it's going to be the right-hand side. The dog goes all the way down the fence. The dog comes all the way back up into the yard. And then it cuts that diagonal to the house next door us through the back door. And that's the place in which the dogs take off. Now after that, that's where they get over to the neighbor and go up Kellen and head over to the other subdivision. Okay.
From the front porch, across the neighbour's backyard, up Kelling Lane and to the construction site. Chris went on to say that several other dogs followed this same track. A bloodhound, a blue-tick coonhound, and then a day or two later, a dog from another team whose breed I don't know, all followed this same track. We know here from SF Investigates that Canine Rex from Sumner County Sheriff's Office, who is absolutely a sable German Shepherd, not a Belgian Malinois. This is a Belgian Malinois. I think Rex could be mistaken for a Belgian Malinois because of his colouring, perhaps. I don't know. From the picture here, Rex to me looks like a German Shepherd. Regardless, Chris called the dog a Malinois. Now, he told Nort Divers that there was a Malinois on the first day, but that didn't follow the same track that the Bloodhound and the Blue-Tick Coonhound did. But SF Investigates on Cranny's Watching yesterday said that Canine Rex, the German Shepherd from Sumner County Sheriff's Office, who was in this area approximately at around 8:30, did start from the house.
And one thing I found interesting is that the dogs did not start from the Proudfoot home.
So some of them did. That canine did right there. Max did not. That canine did. The Bloodhounds, from what I understand, they did. And so that's, I don't think Chris gave out bad information at all. What he gave out, at least what I heard, is he said, what he saw was the canine come out, out the porch, across the yard, and this is when he was telling Nort Divers or whatever, across the neighbor's yard. But then he's not allowed, like he didn't go track the canine handler. So once they're out of sight, he doesn't know. He's going off what he's heard.
So Max, the first responder, didn't. He started here. And then he took a trot to the retention pond and dove right into the water. We hear this clearly on the dispatch audio.
Nice big track back up, going into the construction site over here, back towards the beach. It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? Couldn't have any shoes. Doug, is it? I do have some footprints. Right there where you're standing? Yeah. Leading right over here to the ravine. No shoes, just footprints. He literally dove into it. Max led me straight to the ravine. He just into the water. Now, do you see any prints around it? There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Chris, therefore, being on the phone, he wasn't there until about 1 p.m, probably was told that this was a Malinois. It doesn't matter what breed Rex is, honestly. It doesn't. But did he follow this same track? Chris seems to intimate that he did, and then, again, said to Nort Divers that a Bloodhound, a Blue-Tick Coonhound, and then a couple of days later, another dog, followed that same track. Now, SF Investigates has set the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit here by saying that he's not sure that any of the dogs got a consistent track. So listen to what he said on Granny's Watching.
Now, Slim Shady's saying that T-Rev, who we know is known for faking people calling in, but apparently had a canine handler that was called in by Ellie for 5 days. And she said no dogs ever hit on any scents at all.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't have definitive information, but based on what I've seen, I wouldn't dispute that.
Now, personally, I don't believe that any random person ringing in to an internet show, one of these call-in shows, is in any way telling the truth. Unless she showed her credentials, unless she could prove in any way that she actually was somebody who spent 5 days with her canine in the search for Sebastian Rogers, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to believe. Why would a credentialed search and rescue person, when the investigation's still active, ring in to some random call-in show? It doesn't pass the sniff test for me. But SF Investigates has watched lots of the footage that he's been able to get from the neighbourhood. These, where it says calm, 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 these are just the houses that law enforcement mentioned on the dispatch audio throughout the morning of the 26th of February. I'm not saying these are the only cameras in the neighbourhood. These are just the ones that were mentioned, and there's probably more. But anyway, SF Investigates has been able to watch a bunch of surveillance video that I haven't seen. The chances are you haven't seen either. He's been able to ID all the dogs that did work in that area on the 26th of February, and it's his opinion that none of them got a consistent track. But please, please go and listen to what I said in a live stream the other day, where I talked about how scent on an artificial surface very quickly dissipates because it's on a surface that scent can't bed into. There was vehicles up and down here. There would have been wind that was blowing this scent all over the place. So the scent would be pooling in certain areas. So it wouldn't be a consistent track. Watching a dog, it wouldn't look like a consistent track. Like there might be a patch of scent here and then a patch of scent here and a patch of scent here. And the handler, if they're a good handler, hopefully they keep restarting their dog and be taking a careful note of the direction of all of these pockets of scent. But even the most experienced handlers can misinterpret what their dog is trying to tell them. If only we could speak dog. If only we could understand. But we can understand if you understand your dog's behaviours. And this is where we bring in Jane, one of the dog handlers who was out in the neighbourhood on the 14th of August 2018. This was the day after the murders. Chris hadn't confessed at this point. So Jane and her Labrador, Cody, are doing a neighbourhood search. So I'm going to play this from the original audio from my video that I did on this, but I have mentioned it numerous times since. And until I mentioned it, I don't recall anybody else picking up this issue. People talked about it after, but this was glaringly obvious to me. All right, so I'm going to play it with the original audio and tell me what you see here.
Yeah. Sam, go ahead and send me that parking complaint. I'll be around for that. And you can change my zone to Chief.
Nose in the air. Now, look where he's looking. Look what he starts to do. He starts to focus this direction. He starts to focus over here. What he's trying to do in a moment is to get through this fence. So he keeps going back to the fence. And look, he actually stops. He keeps stopping. And he's trying to find a way through the fence. Officer Lines, move.
When he stops, I'm going to stop.
So she says, when he stops, I stop. But he kept stopping and looking through the fence, through this wiring. Oh, dear me. And Cody's like, listen to me. Take me through the fence, please. So he stops, and then she says, go on. He keeps stopping, looking directly across. Now, I know that we've got the benefit of hindsight, haven't we? We know that Chris put his clothes or whatever into one of these dumpsters. And we know that he stopped up here, right? We're getting to the spot now, because that's that other road that's across almost directly across from the address that Google gives me. So it's either this dumpster or this dumpster, and he keeps stopping, and he's now starting to alert. She tells him to go on. And he can't get through the fence. Look at him there. He's intently looking. He's stopping, he's signalling. And telling her. And she says, what? And then he's like, oh, well, whatever. And he wanders off. And then she follows him. What I see here is Canine Cody, the Labrador, alerting, like pointing. He's pointing over the road, and he's too polite to barge his way through that fence. He's being polite. But he's barking. He's trying to tell Jane, yeah, I want to go over here. And she just ignores him. She tells him to go on. She says, what? It's just nonsense. I don't know how many other cases where Jane has missed stuff, or whether this is just kind of an off day that she was having. I've no idea. The reason why this could potentially have been crucial evidence lost is that we see from the discovery, Chris's trip report from Anadarko, because the truck that he drove that day belonged to his company, Anadarko. The trip report says that he stopped for 4 minutes outside of an address on Black Mesa Road. I think it was the February 2019 confession where he said he put some stuff, like clothes and stuff, in a dumpster. This is where he stopped, and those are the dumpsters. So if Chris hadn't confessed, there would have been evidence in that dumpster that no one would ever have known about. So in Sebastian's case, especially as we know that the construction site wasn't closed down, just how much evidence was missed because it wasn't closed down, we've got no idea. Now, SF Investigates thinks it's a low probability that Sebastian is still on the construction site, but I believe, based on what we know about the dogs, that he absolutely went there. That's what I believe, that he absolutely went there. What happened after that, though, I have got no idea. But SF Investigates thinks that Sebastian is within 0.7 miles of his home. This is 0.7 miles radius, with the centre point being Sebastian's house. So it doesn't cover all that much ground. It covers the immediate neighbourhood, the construction area, the school, some of these woods, and then woods to the south. It's not a massive area. Now, law enforcement says that they covered a 5-mile radius, but that was in the first 8 days when they were hoping to find Sebastian alive, hiding, or injured. I hope Sebastian's alive. I absolutely hope Sebastian's alive. But after 10 months, you've got to consider the probability that most likely isn't. Is he within 0.7 miles of his home, though? Stranger things have happened. There are so many cases where people are close to home and they just get missed. So, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Good girl.